Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to learn 12th class new lesson. The title of the lesson is The New Dress. This lesson is written by Virginia Woolf. Virginia Woolf was born in 1882 and she passed away in 1941. In this lesson, Virginia Woolf has described the character of Mabel. Mabel is a lady, she is a woman, and in this lesson Virginia Woolf has used the technique, the stream of consciousness. Stream of consciousness means continual thinking. In this technique, the character is continuously thinking in his mind or in her mind, and that thinking is negative thinking. In this lesson, the main character is Mabel Waring, and she has gone to a party and she has worn a new yellow colored dress, and continuously she is thinking about her dress, how she is looking, whether the dress is looking beautiful or not, whether she is looking beautiful or not, what people will be thinking about her dress. Such type of thinking is going on into her mind continuously, and she is thinking that the dress is not looking beautiful and people may be laughing at her. Such type of negative thinking is going on in her mind, and finally she comes under the depression of negative thinking. Now she is depressed and she leaves the party. Now we are going to continue this lesson. The new dress. Dear students, the lesson is difficult to understand because of stream of consciousness technique. Mabel is continuously thinking, and there is no link between her thinking, and that's why it is difficult for us to understand the lesson, but I will try to explain it in very simple language. The new dress. Mabel had her first serious suspicion that something was wrong as she took her cloak off. Mabel had gone to the party and she had suspicion. She had suspicion means she had doubt that there is something wrong with her. There is something wrong with her. There is something, some mistake has happened with her, and that's why she took off her cloak. Cloak means clothes. She took off her clothes, and Mrs. Barnett, while handing her the mirror and touching the brushes and thus drawing her attention perhaps rather markedly to all the appliances for tidying and improving hair, complexion, clothes which existed on the dressing table, confirmed the suspicion that it was not quite right, which growing stronger as she went upstairs and springing at her with conviction as she greeted Clarissa Dalloway, she went straight to the far end of the room to a shaded corner where a looking glass hung and looked. Now she had already doubted that there is something wrong with her. There was one lady, her name was Mrs. Barnett, and Mrs. Barnett gave a mirror into the hand of Mabel, and she touched there to some appliances, and she was tidying appliances. She was keeping instruments tidy or neat. She was improving her hair. She was trying to improve her complexion, color of her face. Then she was trying to make her hair tidy. She was trying to comb her hair. And all these things made her doubt, made the doubt of Mabel strong that there is something wrong with her. And that's why Mabel went to the second story upstairs. She went on the second floor. Then there she met Clarissa Dalloway. Mabel met there Clarissa Dalloway, and Mabel welcomed her. Mabel greeted her. Mabel gave her good wishes. Then Mabel went to the next corner of that second floor. There was a big room in the second floor, and she went to the second end of that room. There was some shade, means there was some darkness, and there was a mirror on the wall. Mabel stood in front of that mirror, and she was looking into that mirror. She was looking into that glass. And at once the misery which she always tried to hide, the profound dissatisfaction, the sense she had had ever since she was a child of being inferior to other people, set upon her, relentlessly, remorselessly, with an intensity which she could not beat off as she would when she woke at night at home by reading Borrow or Scott. For oh, these men, oh, these women, all were thinking, what's Mabel wearing? What a fright she looks! What a hideous new dress! Their eyelids flickering as they came up, and then their lids shutting rather tight. Now her negative thinking started. Mabel was looking in the glass, and she had negative thinking, and the negative thinking was the reason of her childhood condition. She was born in a poor family. That's why she was thinking that she is inferior and other people are superior. She had suppressed, she had hid her thinking, negative thinking, but now that negative thinking was aroused in her mind. That negative thinking was awoken in her mind, and she was thinking that she is inferior, all other people are superior. She is not looking good, her dress is not looking good. And when she was at home, at that time she would try to suppress her negative thinking by reading books. But here she had nothing to suppress her thinking. And that's why now she was thinking what the people will be thinking about her dress. They may be thinking, what's Mabel wearing? What Mabel has on? What a fright she looks. Look, how is she looking? She is looking very frightful. And what a hideous new dress. And look how dirty her new dress is. And their eyelids flickering as they came up, and then their lids shutting rather tight. It was her own appalling inadequacy. People were not thinking like that, but it was her own thinking. She had negative thinking. People had no negative thinking about her. People had no problem with her dress with her. But she herself was thinking negatively. It was her own appalling inadequacy. Inadequacy means insufficiency. She was thinking that she is incomplete, she is insufficient, she has something less, she is lacking something. Her cowardice. Her cowardice means she had lack of bravery. Her mean, water-sprinkled blood that depressed her. Her blood was the reason of her depression. Means she was not strong-hearted. She was weak-hearted woman. That's why she was thinking negatively, and at once the whole of the room were forever so many hours she had planned with the little dressmaker how it was to go seemed sordid, repulsive, and her own drawing room so shabby, and herself going out puffed up with vanity as she touched the letters on the hall table and said, "How dull to show off all this," now seemed unutterably silly, paltry, and provincial. Now she had her room, and she had made the room neat and clean. She had taken help from dressmaker, but now she was thinking about her room, and that's why the room was looking unpleasant. The room was looking disgusting to her drawing room. Herself going out, puffed up with vanity, as she touched the letters on the hall table and said, "How dull." And there were some letters on the hall table, and she touched those letters, and she thought that the letters were looking very dull. The letters were looking very boring, disgusting. All now seemed unutterably silly. All the things were silly, paltry, and provincial. She was thinking that all the things are rustic. All this had been absolutely destroyed, shown up, exploded. And she was thinking that all the things are destroyed, exploded. There was a strong explosion, and that's why all the things are destroyed. They are not looking neat, they are not looking clean. The moment she came into Mrs. Dalloway's drawing room, when she came into Mrs. Dalloway's drawing room, now she was thinking about her own drawing room, and she was thinking that Mrs. Dalloway's drawing room is so beautiful, and her drawing room is very dirty. Mrs. Dalloway's drawing room is so attractive, and her drawing room is so unpleasant. What she had thought that evening when sitting over the teacups, Mrs. Dalloway's invitation came, was that, of course, she could not be fashionable. When Mrs. Dalloway's invitation for party came, at that time, Mabel was sitting at a table and she was having her tea. And she thought that Mabel is not fashionable, so she will not suit the party. Means at that time her negative thinking had started. It was absurd to pretend it even. Fashion meant cut, meant style, meant 30 guineas at least. And she was thinking fashion means there should be cut of hair. Then style, person or woman should be stylist, and there should be a lot of money in pocket, in purse. But why not be original? Why not be herself anyhow? But why she was not acting as she is? Why she was not original in her behavior? And getting up, she had taken that old-fashioned book of her mother's, a Paris fashion book of the time of the empire, and had thought how much prettier, more dignified, and more womanly they were then, and so said herself, "Oh, it was a foolish trying to be like them," pluming herself in fact upon being modest and old-fashioned and very charming, giving herself up, no doubt about it, to an orgy of self-love which deserved to be chastised, and so rigged herself out like this. Then she decided to make herself fashionable. Then there was a book, fashion book. That book belongs to her mother, and it was the time of the empire, Paris empire. She took that book. She looked some fashions, some fashionable dress in that book. There were some pictures, and she made a dress, fashionable dress for herself by looking into that book. But now she was thinking that the dress was old fashioned. The dress does not suit to her, and now it is modern age, and she was wearing old fashioned dress. That the design, the color of the dress was chosen by Mabel herself, but now she was thinking that the dress is not suiting to her, the dress is not looking good on her. But she dared not look in the glass. She could not face the whole horror. The pale yellow, idiotically old-fashioned silk dress, with its long skirt and its high sleeves and its vest and all the things that looked so charming in the fashion book, but not on her, not among all these ordinary people. She felt like a dressmaker's dummy, standing there for young people to stick pins into. She looked in the glass. She could not face the whole horror. The pale yellow, idiotically old-fashioned silk dress. Now she was looking in the glass. The dress was upon her. She had worn that dress. She was looking in the mirror, and she was saying that the dress is looking old-fashioned, because it had long skirt and high sleeves, and its waist, and all the things that looked so charming in the fashion book. She said the dress was looking charming, very beautiful in the fashion book, but it is not looking good upon her body. And she felt like a dressmaker's dummy, and there are dummy pieces in the shops. They are put there to attract customers, and she was thinking that she is looking like a dummy piece. But my dear, it's perfectly charming, Rose Shaw said, looking her up and down with that little satirical pucker of the lips which she expected. Rose herself being dressed in the height of the fashion, precisely like everybody else always. Now there was another woman. Her name was Rose Shaw. Rose Shaw looked at Mabel, and Rose Shaw said, "You are looking very handsome, you are looking very beautiful, you are looking very attractive, and you are looking very fashionable. We are all like flies trying to crawl over the edge of the saucer," Mabel thought. And Mabel was thinking that they are flies. They are flies. And flies trying to crawl over the edge of the saucer. There are flies. Flies sit on the edge of the saucer, edge of the cup of tea, and they try to drink the tea, but only they can sit on its edge. Only they can sit on the corner, on the edge of the cup, but they cannot drink the tea. In the same way, she was saying that she is not rich, so she cannot do fashion. Only like the flies, she can go to the edge of the fashion. The fashion is not affordable to her. She was thinking like this. If she were crossing herself as if she were trying to find some spell to annul this pain, and now she was painful, she was sorrowful, and she was trying to find out something which will reduce her pain, which will reduce her sorrow, to make this agony endurable. Now she had too much agony, and she had to endure, she had to bear that agony, she had to bear the pain of her negative thinking. Tags of Shakespeare, lines from books she had read ages ago, suddenly came to her when she was in agony, and she repeated them over and over again, flies trying to crawl. And she had read Shakespeare's book, and there was one sentence in Shakespeare's book: flies trying to crawl. Flies are trying to crawl. Flies are trying to walk. And now she remained that sentence. Thank you very much. We will stop here and we will continue the remaining chapter tomorrow. If you like my video, please like it, share it, comment on it, and please don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you very much.